everyone. On behalf of India Auto Show and the EV Pavilion, we thank you for your participation and presence here. Primarily, I would just like to give you a brief about the whole objective we have today. So I am myself from THEISTIC Business Consultant. I am the director of the company. We have been working with Government of Maharashtra in developing the whole EV policy for Maharashtra. So last year when the EV policy came out, we were working with the Government of Maharashtra, with the ministry, the Honorable Minister Aditya Thackeray himself and his team. So after the EV policy has come out, now we are about almost a year to the day today. So we have foreseen that a lot of challenges have happened on the OEM side, on the charging infrastructure side, as well as the consumer side. We have developed a project called Accelerating EV Adoption in Maharashtra. It is in partnership with the Majhi Vasundhara Environment Department, Government of Maharashtra, supported by MIDC, Maharashtra Pollution Board, Maharashtra Tourism, and MAHAPRIET, which is promoting environment, renewable energy as well. Today we have from MSEDCL, Maharashtra State Electricity Distribution Company Limited, Prasad Reshme sir. Just for your information, MSEDCL has been identified as a nodal office for state nodal office for all charging infrastructure related development in Maharashtra. So he is currently a very important person for us, especially on the charging side. Also, we have the association support here, MCCI, we have Mr. Sudanva Kapurkode, and from Mumbai Bus Malak Chalak Association and Federation of Taxi Operators. The reason we have this presentation, we are not having a proper presentation, we are having one-to-one stakeholders discussion here is primarily because of two reasons. One, under the state project, our objective is to identify 10 locations across Maharashtra where we want to invite and ensure that all the EV partners who are there in the ecosystem have to go and install their charging stations, have the vehicles there, and we have the user community also here who are going to also help us ensure that the EV adoption happens. Right now we have been talking about EV and how EV should go, etc. But a lot of on-ground activities are still not happening. With our project, we are working with all the departments in the Maharashtra government. We are working with each municipality. DISCOM is in fact very important for all the charging station players. If the charging station is there, then only the vehicles will come. So when we talk about the chicken and egg story, it is not the vehicle which is going to drive charging infrastructure. It is very clear as far as our information is that the charging infrastructure will only ensure that the citizen is confident to go for an EV vehicle. So that's the whole discussion point we have. We'll just take his insights and then we'll move on to each one of you for a quick insight from your side. What exactly you want us to suggest in terms of what can be implemented quickly in next 1 year in terms of pilot activities or any your suggestions that you have, and how do we take it forward. With this, I'll request Mr. Reshme to give a brief on the objectives of Maharashtra State, and then we can move forward with the other participants.
Good morning, everyone. As you all know, the penetration of electrical vehicle is the mission of government. Basically, in this line, Government of India has come up with the National Electric Mobility Mission. And then after subsequent guidelines and various circulars, various schemes came. As you know, FAME scheme came there. After that, Government of Maharashtra has also taken a very aggressive step for penetration of electrical vehicle in Maharashtra. So in 2018 itself, Government of Maharashtra came up with the policy. Probably it was among the top leader states which come up with the independent policy for electric vehicle. Subsequently, in the able leadership of our Environment Minister, Honorable Aditya Thackeray sir, we revised that policy in 2021 and new electric vehicle policy for Maharashtra came. So basically the content of this policy are very clear so as to increase the penetration of electrical vehicle in the Maharashtra as well as the associated businesses of the electric vehicle like battery charging stations, then manufacturing of the batteries, etc. So this policy came up with the two options. One is the demand side incentive and other is the supply side incentive. So the incentives for the new purchase of the vehicles are also made provision there. At the same time, charging infrastructure will also be incentivized. So for the slow chargers, around 60,000 rupees incentive is declared by Government of Maharashtra, as well as for the fast chargers, around 5 lakh rupees or 50% of the cost of the charger, whichever is lesser, is declared by Government of Maharashtra. So in this policy, basically to implement the charging part, Maharashtra State Electricity Distribution Company Limited is being nominated as a state nodal agency for this. So in the capacity of state nodal agency, MSCDCL is working. So MSCDCL has two jobs, two responsibilities to discharge. One is as a state power utility to fulfill the supply obligation, universal supply obligation for the consumers. At the same time, state nodal agency for the electric vehicle charging infrastructure and its development. So if we consider the role as a state supply agency, so to provide infrastructure for the charging station, especially electrical infrastructure which required for the to give the supply to this charging station, like creation of the substations, improving the infrastructure conditions, upward infrastructure modifications, all this work has to be done by the electric company, electric utility. Similarly, release of the connection to this charging station is the prime responsibility for distribution company. So for this purpose, MSDCL has developed a single window clearance system for the charging station electric connections. And it is being monitored centrally by our head office team. And all the field offices have been instructed to release this connection as early as they can, depending on the infrastructure availability. The battery charging station should have its separate transformer and separate infrastructure. So this is as per the guidelines of Government of India. So for this purpose also, MSCDCL has requested Government of India to sanction the fund of around 150 crores so as to create this infrastructure free of cost to the service providers. The third responsibility is to promote the renewable energies, because the National Electricity Mobility Mission or your Maharashtra policy is gives more emphasis on the promotion of renewable energy for the charging infra. So for this purpose also, being a distribution utility, MSCDCL has started the bidding procedure. Around 11,000 megawatt bidding procedure for renewable energy has been started by MSCDCL. And out of that, around 8,500 megawatt is being contracted. And out of that, around 3,300 megawatt is available in the grid. And maybe by March 2023, we will be able to extract entire 8,500 megawatt in our grid. So parallelly, procurement of renewable energy is also being done by the state distribution utility by MSCDCL. So this is all about the role of state distribution utility. The major role is as a state nodal agency, because all the stakeholders, they are communicating with the state nodal agency for development of this electrical charging infrastructure. So for this purpose, as I said earlier, the policy of Maharashtra says the disbursement of incentive for the charging stations. So for disbursement and to have a clear and transparent procedure for disbursement of this infrastructure, MSCDCL has developed a web portal. Separate web portal is developed, wherein one can apply online for the incentive for these charging stations, and within 15 days or maximum within a month time, this disbursement of incentive happens. So So this is the major achievement done by the Maharashtra State Electricity Distribution Company Limited as a state nodal agency. The other thing is to create the integrated charging plan for Maharashtra state. So for this purpose, the work is already being started by us. We have deputed Honest and Young Company for the consultation of this, they are consulting us for this purpose. And we will be coming up with the detailed infra charging station, integrated charging plan for Maharashtra in the coming 2 or 3 months. So these are the major initiatives taken by the state nodal agency. At the same time, to promote this charging station activity, charging station business, the incentivized tariff should be there. As presently you know, the electric tariff are very higher for the commercial activities and other activities. So for this purpose, electric charging station activity is created as a separate activity in the MERC tariff order. And presently for the charging station purposes, around 5 rupees 50%, 50 paise is the tariff available in Maharashtra. And even if you use this charging facility in the night hours, that is off-peak hours, that is 10 p.m. night to 6 a.m. in the morning, so additional 1.5 rupees rebate is available. So it is a cheaper activity in Maharashtra. I think the same rates are available in Delhi also. The third point is that to promote the various business model, if anyone set up the charging station, over and above this electricity tariff, he should earn something. So to take care of that, fixed service charges are decided by the MSEDCL. At present, around 3 rupees service charges is applicable in the incentivized charging infrastructure. Wherever government incentive is taken, this 3 rupees service charge they can recover from the consumers. So as you all know, this is a need of time to develop the infrastructure, because it is a chicken and egg story, as you all know. So if infrastructure is ready, probably vehicles will come. And when vehicle will come, infrastructure will again be developed. So this is a cumulative activity. So of course, MSEDCL and state of government of Maharashtra is taking lead in this endeavor. I think all the stakeholders should participate in this project and make Maharashtra as a leader in the electric vehicle charging category. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for sharing the insights. I'm sure a lot of people were not aware of this, couple of information. So that's the objective here. Now I would request one by one to share your views. As I said, the point of discussion is that sir has already given the plan that we need, the targets that we have decided. We want to try and explore all options and possibilities where we can propose concepts and pilots maybe, where the government can support us and start doing this implementation both on charging infrastructure as well as EV, vehicle adoption. So I would probably request, sir, you can give the user side views आणि नंतर आम्ही एक-एकचं हे घेऊया.
गुड मॉर्निंग. EVबद्दल जे आता जे आपण जे चाललं आहे, ॲक्च्युली आपण टू व्हीलरची जे पॉलिसी आता मी बघितली आहे या लास्ट 3-4 दिवसापासून डेली पेपरला येतं आहे. एक कारण गव्हर्मेंटकडनं कोणती पॉलिसी नव्हती. हा एक सगळ्यात मोठा EVमधला जो टू व्हीलरमधला प्रॉब्लेम्स आहे. हां, तर पॉलिसीच्या आधी व्हेकल्स येतात, तर ते कन्झ्युमरसाठी, कस्टमरसाठी खूप त्रासदायक आहे. कारण आता त्या सगळ्या ज्या टू व्हीलर्स आलेल्या आहेत, ज्या सेल केलेल्या आहेत प्रत्येक डीलर्सनी किंवा, तर त्यांच्याकडे सेल करण्याचं लायसन्स वगैरे जे आहे ते नसल्यामुळे किंवा गव्हर्मेंटची पॉलिसी नसल्यामुळे ते कन्झ्युमरला प्रॉब्लेम्स येतो. तो झाला नाही पाहिजे. इन्फ्रास्ट्रक्चरमध्ये व्हेकल्स आले आहेत, चार्जिंग पॉईंटचे शॉर्टेज आहेत. आज मी जर पर्सनल कार घेतली तर माझ्या सोसायटीमध्ये चार्जिंग पॉईंट नाही, तर ते चार्जिंग पॉईंट्स असणे खूप गरजेचं आहे. तर इन्फ्रास्ट्रक्चर पहिलं आलं पाहिजे आणि त्यानंतर ज्या व्हेकल्स किंवा इन्फ्रास्ट्रक्चर आणि व्हेकल्स या दोन्ही एकत्र आल्या तर कारण ई व्ही ही काळाची गरज आहे आणि कारण दिवसांदिवस आपलं पेट्रोलची आणि डिझेलची जी प्राईस एवढी हाय होत चालली आहे तर त्यामुळे आपल्याला एक ऑप्शन होतं की सी एन जीचं पण सेमच्या रेट्स वाढत चालले. तर आता आपल्याला एक नवीन पर्याय मिळालेला आहे. सेंट्रल गव्हर्नमेंटची पण आणि स्टेट गव्हर्नमेंटची पण चांगली पॉलिसी आणि ती महाराष्ट्रात चांगली राबवली जाते. पण कुठे ना कुठे थोडी कमतरता असल्यामुळे जे इन्फ्रास्ट्रक्चर आहेत ते खूप गरजेचं आहे आणि त्याच्यासाठी जेवढं जास्तीत जास्त लवकर आपण बघता येईल तेवढं.
Thank you, sir. So I'll just pass on the mic, introduce yourself and just, in a quick couple of points that we want to highlight, so that we can collect these points and make a proper report to the government. Today, unfortunately, there were 3 ministers who are expected to come here, but that's the bad news. But we also have a good news. Each minister has asked us to do the same type of discussion in their local cities. So they have asked us to initiate one discussion in Raigad, another in Nagpur, and the third city we are looking at is either Kolhapur or Nasik, where we want to have a proper project focusing only on that city. So I would request, each one of you just to introduce your name, your product or whatever service, and what is that one thing that you want to do with the help of the state government that we can proceed with. I will start with Mr. Sudhanva sir. He's representing MCCIA, and we did an AFC conclave in Pune. I'm sure he has a lot of feedback from there itself.
Thank you. So I'm sure some of you did have a look at the Pune Alternate Fuel Conclave, and some of you also participated there. And I was taking a general feedback. A lot of good traction happened there in terms of branding EV as a segment in the society as such, and also encouraging the industry to look at EV as a mainstay instead of just as a passerby. Now, what has happened is a lot of companies are getting a lot of inquiries as a result of that momentum built up by the EV policy, first of all, stakeholder consultations and the conclaves like this. So, I have a few copies of this. This is also available online. This has a report on what we did in the Pune Alternate Fuel Conclave. There was a full-scale conference. There was a rally of electric vehicles, and there was an alternate fuel expo, which had about 87 exhibitors. Bulk of them were startup category, like 31 of them. Then there were about 20 were from the small scale category, 13 of them from the large category, and some institutional players. So at the chamber, what we have been doing is, of course, we have participated in the policy formulation work, policy formulation work. Also, we have worked with MIDC, MSADCL and other stakeholders to make sure that the essential infrastructure and the enabling framework is around there for not only for the EV manufacturing, for the component player and the EV charging stations and the whole ecosystem. Because ultimately, unless and until all the 3 dots and the policy framework come together, whether it's the central or the state policy, and even the local government policies, that momentum will not be accelerated. That is very clear. So in Pune, cities like Mumbai and Pune, we already see a lot of action on those policy front and the user front as well. And a lot of the concerns about last mile infrastructure availability or the range anxiety and all that are being addressed at the technology level, at the user level, as well as at the ecosystem level. So for example, one app that we got to launch at the Alternate Fuel Expo, suddenly out of nowhere that app generated not less than 10,000 hits during the 4 days of the expo. And a few thousand users got added to that. Advantage is all the charging stations which are hooked on to your network, and you being the user, you are having the liberty to choose which one is there while you are on the go. So, some such initiatives. Also on the industry side, because we come from a chamber of commerce, we also have to take care of the small scale industry and the auto component industry in particular, because the thinking is very clear. Even the OEMs are saying, even if it is 2030 or beyond, maybe the vehicles of the conventional IEC engine will stay, the numbers will stay as it is. So that itself is significant, but the new developments, the displacement or the likely displacement or the new dispensation for the small scale companies is what we are trying to make an effort to educate them to move towards EV adoption, EV component development and technology development also, because EV inherently seems to be a very agile segment. Instead of capital intensive automotive industry, EV seems to be a very agile segment. So if you look at the proliferation of two-wheelers in the EV segment, you will see that none of them are backed by any of the big corporate houses. Many have come and sprung up and are doing very extremely well. So likewise, the startups, the SMEs, the large companies, the investment and the policy framework from MIDC. For example, maybe some of you may be aware, but many of you may not be aware that anywhere you set up an EV unit, EV station or EV component industry or even EV vehicle industry, you are eligible for D-zone incentive. So not many players would be available. So for example, in our AFC, the MIDC CEO has announced that there will be a full-scale EV industrial park in Talegaon itself for about 100 plus acres. So likewise, because of that tempo, a lot of the EV players have started to evince the interest and accelerate. Those who are there are accelerating the momentum to produce EVs in Maharashtra, Pune or otherwise. So we are talking about Maharashtra, so which is a very, very welcome sign. And during the discussion, we'll of course add a few points further. Thank you.
So, hello everyone, this is Pritesh Majan. I'm the founder and CEO of Revamp Moto. So, I'll give a brief about what Revamp Moto does. So, Revamp Moto is a EV startup based in Nasik. We are making two-wheelers, low-speed and high-speed two-wheelers. And we are not playing against the other OEMs or the other startups. We're actually making something which is very unique, which is very different, and trying to build the adoption of electric vehicles from the bottom of the pyramid. So we are making electric vehicles which will empower the society by providing sustainable adaptive solutions and will help people to earn more livelihood, basically, who are using two-wheelers to earn their livelihoods. These two-wheelers will empower these people. So that is what Revamp Moto is focusing on currently. And we are fortunate enough to have government support till date. And also, Pune FC was a good grand success for us. So we had 3,500 footfall at the conclave in the past 4 days. And what I would have as a suggestion from our understanding, from our experience into the ecosystem, is definitely government is helping a lot of startups and a lot of companies basically to boost the EV adoption. But also, if there can be I don't know if it can be a policy or it can be an initiative by the government to boost the pilot projects run by the government to enhance and to kind of give a boost to the startup ecosystem. Because to be honest, all the innovation that we can see into the EV industry right now is majorly coming from the startups, majorly coming from the tier 2 startups who have actually seen the pain points at the ground level and who are trying to build solutions for the people, for the hustlers of India. So if government can try such an initiative where these startups are given an opportunity to do a pilot, and government can try to, let's say, run a couple of pilots at a couple of places, and if it goes well, then the adoption can be boosted up. That is my take on this.
Okay, we actually were just discussing about your feedback and this. So, sir is suggesting that whatever is your plan of action, even if it is a draft one, please do share it with us, and we'll have a separate meeting on how to take it forward. So, thanks a lot. Sir, if you can.
Hi, I'm the stakeholder manager at Revamp Moto. I just had 2 questions to ask. So we've recently observed a lot of fire hazards and fire incidences with all the different EVs that are currently in the market. And exact reason for these kind of incidents is not yet clear. So what are the government initiatives that have been taken so that the companies who are already there in the market and the upcoming companies to avoid these kind of hazards in the future? And second, we recently read a news which read that the low-speed vehicles that are currently in the market, who are supposed to be reaching a high speed of 25 kilometers per hour, but certain vehicles have been observed to be illegally passing that particular limit. So what will the government's initiative be on this particular issue, and how will they ensure that companies who already have their vehicles out there will not be surpassing that limit?
So in fact, on the fire thing, it's already in the news. I have a suggestion to all the EV players who are here. This is my observation since some time that the negative news about this industry is much more stronger than the positive news. So I would suggest if you are a part of this industry, you need to ignore such news. In fact, the minister himself has said this is a part of the teething problems across any industry. It's not that every day we are having bikes burning every corner of this road. It's one or two instances which has happened across every industry. Having said that, there is a different concerns have been highlighted. There is a policy input also that has gone to the government on how to control this point. Secondly, also on the other point that you mentioned, so it's all trying to be getting into a comprehensive policy, because these were some points which were not foreseen when the policy was drafted. We are going through the evolution process, and the right partners are already taking care of these points. And of course, there is going to be a lot of revisions that are going to happen. I would request you if you can also come with a suggestion that we could incorporate maybe any other success story which is happening somewhere else, rather than putting the ball only to the government and they have to try to find out a solution. So as an industry, if we can do that, that will be much more helpful for us. Thank you. So.
Your concern. Just one point on your concern that you had raised. The RTO has already started taking action on the illegal conversion of the vehicles which are not supposed to be having the battery of the licensed two-wheeler. So they are trying to make their registration process and the observation process stronger. It also is very important that all the stakeholders, including the last mile dealer and the consumer, to understand and realize the negative side of changing on the fast tracking the system in that sense. So it's very important that if you want to drive a two-wheeler which is offered 25 unlicensed variety, and it is supposed to not cross the 25 kilometer per hour limit, so be it. If you want to go in for a licensed one, then you go in for a licensed one, proper one, because there are financing mechanisms available, there are modalities available, there are systems available. Now, I think range anxiety and the price anxiety is also taken care. Generally, if you look at the price point of a conventional two-wheeler and a EV two-wheeler of a equivalent variety, is not much of a difference. So, not to make fast bucks on.
Thank you, everyone. This is Yashodhan Gokhale from Octilion Power Systems. We make lithium-ion battery packs and BMS in Pune. It's almost 400 megawatt hour. More than 800 buses which are running in India are running with our battery packs. We first time introduced NMC liquid cooling with more million kilometers running in Indian condition. And we are setting up the gigafactory in Pune. Already we are working with the various OEMs for the commercial domain as well as with the passenger car. And so far, one of the challenge that we are facing in last 2 years, we are exploring the supply chain. Obviously, it's a chicken and egg situation. Even for connecting the cells or connecting the modules, you need a bus bars. Bus bars, these are flexible. We have it made. It's not a rocket science, but nobody is making. I'm talking about 720 volts for the buses, and cold plates, which we have a dependency on neighboring country. To avoid that, there should be some provision, or tender should not be a lowest bidder always. There should be a Make in India angle also, which can help suppliers as well as various vendors who are contributing for making the battery packs in India. Initially, we have a dependency on Iran or other countries for oil, but it should not be a case for the batteries, which is the main heart of the EV domain. We have a dependency on neighboring country. There are PLI scheme and all where government initiative is doing good work for setting up the lithium ion factories in India. It will be operational hopefully 3 to 4 years. But in terms of the supply chain, wiring harness, good quality enclosures and all, where there should be an initiative where government can push or help them in terms of subsidy or promoting them, rather than if any OEM buys the battery pack or any component from neighboring country, there should be a X amount of duty, and if you are giving, which is make in India thing. So thank you.
Thank you, sir. So on that point, in fact, we have already proposed to the government, like alternate fuel conclave happened where the whole industry came together to share these ideas. Similar events to be done multiple times across Maharashtra. That's when these kind of, companies can interact with with the government. So we are ensuring and hoping that it will continue.
Uh, Good morning, everyone. I am Ashwini Shah. I am part of the Australian consulate. We have, 6 sectors, and I am part of the infrastructure sector. Sir, je tumhi manalat ki infrastructure is the key, and I completely agree with you. In terms of outcomes, we have Tritium, which is an Australian player, which has got a JV with Tata Auto Components for DC chargers. So what's my ask is that our mandate is to help Australian companies succeed in India, Australian innovation succeed in India. And I can see there's a lot of opportunity from the government and a lot of opportunity for these Australian companies to collaborate with local Indian companies which are present here and make the most of it. So I'm happy to meet anyone who has like-minded interest in collaborating with Australian companies and making the most of these opportunities. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. In fact, that's very interesting for all of us also, because a lot of Australian companies are interested to collaborate with Indian companies to come, not directly coming to it. So in fact, you can reach out to us or ma'am also, if we can start creating a group of such people and she can activate some Australian companies to start discussions where these partnerships can happen. Yeah.
Just to add a bit, Australia has got capabilities not just in this space, but also in renewable space, that's so mentioned. And in terms of safety and security, it's one of the highest standards that Australia has across the board. So these are all the places where, we can collaborate, we as Indian companies can collaborate with Australia.
Thank you.
Good morning. I am Rakesh Singh. I am representing Bolt. So I'll brief you about Bolt. At Bolt, we are setting the charging stations across India, and we have already completed 12,000 charging stations. And in Maharashtra itself, we have done around 1,800 installation in last 3 months. And there were a few queries that people are raising on in terms of the discoms, that people don't understand the residential charging, which needs to be clarified, and we believe MSADCL can come forward and clarify that. And second part is about the captive charging. Though we understand there may be, since this is a new industry and a new program that we are doing, there are situations where people are not getting the green meters. So people need to, also this problem needs to be addressed, or they should be given the permission to take the connection from, set up the charging station from their current connections.
Policy is very clear. Basically, if you want to charge your vehicle from your residential premises, you can do it from your existing meter. For that purpose, if you require extension in load, so it will be done by the discoms. But at the same time, if you are planning to go for a captive charging or public charging stations or semi-public charging stations like in a society, so for that purpose, you can have a separate connection. And for that purpose, the tariff, as I said, 5 rupees 50 paisa will be applicable. So it is very clear, and all instructions have been circulated down the line.
आता काय होतोय, most of the residents la, they are not very knowledgeable about the fact, and they are of the view that if we charge our electric vehicle from our own meter, then discom may penalize us. We have like if discom can come in front and address this, एक newsletter काढलं किंवा काही एक जाहिरात काढला तर we can resolve this problem.
That we can do, but basically it is in the policy, so it is in the act. So, see, earlier the charging activity was supposed to be a licensed activity. Resale of electricity comes in a licensed activity, but now it is a de-licensed activity. So, setting up charging stations can be done by anyone, and anyone can charge his vehicle from the existing meter. The only fact is that, so from which category he is charging, the same tariff will be applicable. But especially if he avails the meter for a separate charging category, in that case charging tariff will be applicable. So it is very clear. But still we will promote it, no issue. Good suggestion.
On that suggestion, in fact, I would request, all the charging guys, see, it's not only the responsibility of the government to educate the citizen, because it's the end consumer are going to buy from you. So it is also a joint responsibility for us also, as she said that, motorbikes are on fire all the days. So we need to go and educate the citizen, because at the government level, there's a restriction of how much information they can provide at what levels. That's why we are organizing such kind of activities. We want you to partner. Let us, please share us these questions, FAQs, and also the appropriate answers that you want us. We can vet it through them. Where we can use government is to exponentially reach. If you and me can reach 100 people, through government we can reach 1 lakh people. But how to use that? If you wait government to reach 200 people, then of course, there are challenges that we have to wait and understand. Having said that, there is a very good intent from the government. Let us collaborate on where we can foresee that, partnership will work for us.
Good morning, everybody. Myself, Azad Vinder Singh from Tata Motors, Pune. We have a dealerships all over Pan India. In Mumbai, we are having a dealerships at 3 locations: Malad, Prabhadevi, and Andheri. So Tata Motors, as you know, that they have started the innovation of the electric vehicle with the Tata Nexon, one of the highest selling. Not only it's an electric vehicle, but it's also a safest car with the 5-star rating. So what is my experience that we got that government is really working very good, because we are selling 500, 600 cars and 50% is electric now. We have a waiting for the electric vehicles due to some parts issue and all. It's around 4 to 5 months is the waiting time. But customers still now, they not have faced any issue where they told us that they doesn't find any charging stations. So they are getting charging stations at the highway, on the highways. So in future, I think Tata Motors is also working with they have done a tie-up with the Bharat Petroleum, and government is also doing a tie-up. So EV charging points, I think that will be, we have all have closed down for last 2 years. There wasn't COVID restrictions. So Mumbai is we celebrate all the festivals, like Ganesh festivals, and every festival we celebrate. So awareness will come, and definitely there are people who are coming and they are showing interest that they want to set up the charging stations. What the subsidies we are getting, as sir have announced, I think that will also help us in terms of small scale person who have a small setup. He may have a dhaba or all. He's paying a GST, so we can take him in consideration. If he have a space, we can take the petrol pump owners in consideration. We can take the petrol pumps who are selling CNG. We can also give them a target that to set up at least 1 charging points. We can work with the Nagar Sevaks. Every Nagar Sevaks, they have that. We have to give them the 10 or 15 points where they can also tell in their ward that in our ward we have 10 to 15 charging points where you will directly go and charge your vehicles. So these are some of the suggestions. I think it will slowly and steadily, it will definitely come, and what we are working and we have worked. I really appreciate the efforts the sir have announced. It's a really a good thing, the subsidy and the night timing and all, everything some people don't know, but we need to educate as a stakeholders. We need to go to them and we need to print ads, we need to put messages on our websites and all, everything we need to do to support equally, so we can get through this. I think in another 1 year, I think every second car or second bike will be an EV bike because the prices of petroleum is like really going up. So this is all I want to say.
Thank you, sir. In fact, Tata, I assume, is the leader in EV sales today. In fact, we would request you also to your parent company and you being the face to the customer, these good news is, as you said, almost half of your cars or 40% is going EV. Now, see, we require a forum like this to know this, which is already happening on ground, but nobody is aware. So we would request you also and also to your parent company to, promote this, that the users are actually not facing such issues. People are happily using it and they are waiting for a green EV as well.
We seen there are people who are 65 years old, 70 years old. They are using they have used in their life, they have used Mercedes, Lamborghinis, they premium cars. But not only most of the people, they think before taking a test drive of any EV car. So they feel कि EV मतलब खाली इलेक्ट्रिक है, कुछ फन नहीं है. बट EV एक्चुअली पॉल्यूशन भी नहीं है, साउंड भी नहीं है, सेफ्टी भी है, बिकॉज आपको पता होगा बैटरी नीचे होती है तो ग्रेविटी बहुत ज़्यादा होती है. ग्रेविटेशनल फोर्स की वजह से रोड पकड़ के गाड़ी चलती है, स्पेशली ऑन द सीमेंट रोड्स. सो EV एक्चुअली अगर टाटा मोटर्स इस पर पहल रख रहा है, आई थिंक मारुति को हमको कान से पकड़ना चाहिए, सबको मिलके मारुति को कान से पकड़ना चाहिए, क्योंकि वो EV में घुसने के लिए आई थिंक दे आर टेकिंग अ लॉट ऑफ टाइम. क्या सोच रहा है पता नहीं, बट आई थिंक वी नीड एज अ स्टेक होल्डर्स वी नीड टू पुट प्रपोजल्स कि आप कम रेट्स पे क्या लॉन्च कर रहे हो.
So, in terms of suggestion, Umesh, the swappable battery is also another concept which the industry and the users will find it very useful. In our coming back to our expo, there was a launch of a product for swappable battery stations. So that will also be very useful where people on the go or nearby petrol stations or wherever, if there is a proliferation of these swappable battery stations. So in a minute, they actually demonstrated that in a minute you pay, put your old battery, take the new charged battery out in less than a minute, and then off you go. So if we have some such solutions as alternatives to the conventional ones also, that will still instill even more confidence. But I am aware that there are certain issues in the swappable battery for three-wheeler and the four-wheeler thing. So if you are able, as an industry, if you are able to address some such issues also, that will also be helpful. Because you can't take, in a high-rise building, for example, you can't take out a battery which is, say, 20, 30 kg and take it to your house, bring it down every day. It's not possible. So, and not everybody has a charging station or charging point in their buildings yet. So, we have to find some way to do this.
Actually, we need to see what we are now in the EV market. Now, we try to spoon feed. We don't want कि we spoon feed the people, like, because CNG station is not in your house. You have to go and fill the CNG in the queue. And it take 1 hour to fill a CNG. In half an hour fast charging you will get through done. And I think we need to aware that there are charging station, you need to plan it. Because everybody, if all the vehicles will come in the morning, 8 o'clock or 9 o'clock, even if we set up the charging stations, that purpose will not solve. Like what is happening with CNG now? The same thing, the costs are high, demand is high now. The supply is less, that's the reason it's high. So this is the thing we need to educate people. And swappable battery, still I think it is very difficult. It's very difficult actually. It's a good suggestion, but it's very difficult. We have also discussed, customers will also come and discuss this point. But Tata have launched the EV Max now. It's 437 is the one time charge and go up to 400 kilometers. So they have extend the range. And in the minimum range, it's 227 in the smaller variant. Subsidy was there. It was a great help. 1,50,000 was the subsidy. Early bird 1 lakh I think is not now. So I request that 1 lakh early bird schemes should come. so we can.
So we
help it
will
to sell
try
more.
to share that message because the early birds was supposed to be early. Now we are a bit late, but we'll try to force, suggest that. Yeah. Please, sir.
हेलो हेलो प्रॉब्लम स्टेट गवर्नमेंट का नहीं है सर. स्टेट गवर्नमेंट सब्सिडी देने को तैयार है. आप 5 साल की वारंटी देने को तैयार नहीं हो गाड़ी पे.
सर गाड़ी के ऊपर 8 साल की वारंटी है.
5 साल की उन्होंने मांगा है बैटरी लाइफ. आप नहीं
8
दे रहे हो.
years 8 years 1,60,000 किलोमीटर.
नहीं सर, मैंने गाड़ी खरीदी है. आपके पीछे जो बंदा बैठा हुआ है उसको पता है. तो आप मुझे ये मत बोलो. आप
ये आपका कमर्शियल है या पर्सनल यूज है?
सर कुछ भी रहने दो ना. सब्सिडी तो सब्सिडी है.
कमर्शियल यूज पे टोयोटा.
आप ऐसा बोल रहे हो कि आप गाड़ी सिर्फ प्राइवेट प्लेयर में बेचोगे क्या?
दो
सर मेरा सवाल है आप गाड़ी सिर्फ प्राइवेट प्लेयर को बेचोगे क्या?
कमर्शियल एंड पर्सनल यूज टोटली डिफरेंट थिंग है.
क्यों? गाड़ी तो गाड़ी है.
टोटली डिफरेंट है सर. गाड़ी
Sir,
है
sir,
but आप उस पे अर्न कर रहे हो, प्रॉफिट कमा रहे हो.
I would suggest that this is a topic within the industry that you have to decide.
बट प्रॉफिट कमाने के लिए कमर्शियल पे आप भी तो उस पे अर्न कर रहे हो ना.
सर ठीक है. So I think where we can support is something we should focus on. These issues will.
Sir, I think subsidy is very important. Earlier it was given and it should be common ना. आप प्राइवेट और उसको क्यों अलग करते हो? गाड़ी तो सेम बनती है.
Correct.
ड्यूरेबिलिटी क्वालिटी हैज़ टू बी द सेम. तो उसमें अलग अलग क्यों करना है उनको? और गवर्नमेंट पहले दे ही रही थी सब्सिडी. नहीं दे रही थी ऐसा नहीं है. आई थिंक टिल डिसम्बर एंड द स्टेट एंड सेंटर बोथ वर गिविंग द सब्सिडी एंड देन सडनली दे स्टॉप्ड बिकॉज दे सेड वी वांट 5 years वारंटी.
Sir, just to add into it, central government is giving FAME to demand incentive. That amount comes to 10,000 rupees per kilowatt. It varies from manufacturer to manufacturer depending upon the battery capacity. Now the state government has clearly mentioned in the GR which came on 23rd of July that they will include the fleet owners incentive. They will include it. Operational guidelines is awaited. Still the operational guidelines is not given by the state government. That's why we are facing problem. Just to add you Malik sir, we have extended the warranty. We have given to the state government कि sir we have extended the warranty, but still the operational guidelines given by the state government is pending exclusive for fleet owners. So I request the panel to please take up this matter with the state government so that we have already met with the transport commissioner. We have met with the additional director of industries Korbe Saab, and we have presented him कि sir fleet owners के लिए आप प्लीज इसमें कुछ.
So we will take a note of this. So what we need to have is as a community together to make this presentation to the honorable minister.
Sure, sir.
As you said, you have met already multiple people.
Yeah.
That is the challenge what we have at the government side also. There are multiple stakeholders going through the process. I think we should make a strong case to make a presentation jointly.
Sure.
So,
it
not
will
only
be a
you
great-
at the user
yeah.
side and couple of more people,
Sure.
let's converse together and have a proper presentation.
Yeah, the problem which Malik sir had arise, it will be solved if state government will extend the support to fleet owners also.
Then,
Thank you
Malik
very
sir,
much.
if you can share your other views also to the panel.
Sir, we have been giving cars to this company called Cab E. They are just like Ola and Uber operations के जैसे उन लोग मुंबई में they are based, and they've started their own charging stations in most of the places in Mumbai, and it's a planned pre-booked booking and they can get it charged whenever they want. So things are very positive in that manner. And we've also formed a company. A few of us come together and formed an electric company, LLP company, where we are only going to focus on electric vehicles. Other than that, no other vehicles. So we are also pushing from our association, and इसीलिए हमने पहले गाड़ियाँ ली कि हम ले गए तो नीचे down the line लोग ले गए, just to be a role model. So we are trying to do that. But unfortunately availability नहीं है, market में ज़्यादा OEMs नहीं है. Like is it कान खींचना ज़रूरी है मारुति का, because if they come, probably you will see 10,000 electric vehicles being sold a month, which now I don't think is even 200 or 300. Yeah, so अगर कोई आएंगे सर, वो आता है या हुंडई आता है, then we will see a big change. And I don't think India, मैंने एक चीज़ इंडिया में देखा, जैसा बाइक बिकने की चालू हुई, ऐसे बिकने को लगी थी. तो इंडिया में आप कुछ भी डालो, थोड़ा अगर आदमी के मगज में बैठ गई ये चीज़ ना, वो आँख बंद करके बिकती है. अभी वो चिकन एंड एग की स्टोरी भी चले गई. अब हमारे पास चार्जिंग स्टेशन ज़्यादा हो गए और कार्स कम हो गई है. आज से 1 साल पहले हम लड़ रहे थे टाटा पावर के साथ में, मेजेंटा के साथ में, कि भाई चार्जिंग स्टेशन लगा. Things have changed. If we can get more OEMs, if we can get more subsidy, and my request to this panel is that there is no subsidy available for commercial buses. Commercial buses, they are only been given to STUs. तो अगर मेरे को टाटा की बस खरीदनी है या आइशर की या लेलैंड की खरीदनी है, तो I am not getting that subsidy which is required for me. Sir, I am most important player in the industry. As a commercial fleet owner, we are most important. क्योंकि आज कंपनी के बसेज हैं, आपके बाजू में जो दीपक नायक जी बैठे हैं उसके पास 1200 स्कूल बसेज हैं. अब अगर उसको शिफ्ट करना है इलेक्ट्रिक के ऊपर स्कूल्स को, he cannot do that because we are not getting subsidy on buses. I think that needs to go to the government, start giving these subsidies everywhere.
So I would suggest, we'll have a separate discussion. So see, the OEMs have done their pitch to the minister many times. Maybe we have not done it together. So we would like to discuss this, how we can do it. Sir, one request from our side to you is, what he said, that, Maruti ka kaan khichna chahiye. There are other OEMs which we assume maybe they are not selling as much as they should. And I don't know if there is a intent to it or it's a thing about it, but for the charging infrastructure to flourish, the OEMs need to be a part of the discussion as well. So we have to bring them, ask them what is their strategy, because this mismatch of charging versus vehicle has to be matched together somewhere.
So,
yeah. So we need to have a joint session on that also and on the other state.
So good morning everyone. This is Mayank Gupta from Volvo Aisha, and we are one of the key manufacturers of diesel, CNG and electric. And today we are all here in a forum where 2025 is the year of electric, what we all get into. So every manufacturer, I'm sure we are very confident on products and strategy what we are bringing to this change. And we are here to inform that we are also ready with our electric vehicles, buses. So as rightly said by Malik sir, we are not into two-wheeler and four-wheeler, we are into commercial vehicle buses. And the challenges what is there in manufacturing side and also on the consumer side basically. There are three kind of challenges which I can tell you about. One thing is the infrastructure. So for commercial vehicle buses especially, the infrastructure of fast charging and which is the need of the industry, because bus is a segment where we need timely services to the customers, to this thing, and people have no time to wait. So altogether in one charge we are putting out a product which can run up to 350 to 400 kilometers on a single charge. But yes, then the price is also a concern to on the other hand, where we are our dependency on the neighboring countries in this thing for a good quality charging. That is one thing, because safety is on another concern on the batteries, because batteries we have on various ranges. So we don't want to compensate on quality and all this thing, and safety is upward challenges for us. So considering all thing, I think infrastructure is one thing. Second thing is what we called about the subsidy to the end users. Okay, government has taken the initiative, and there is a huge orders from the government side to supply around 30 to 40,000 buses in next 3 years. So we are ramping up our electric supplies and production. But on the other hand side, then there is a second replacement market where it is untouched, and the infrastructure is really we have to work upon, and we look forward to on government and other enterprises to get into that thing. Even swapping of batteries, which sir has told. So for a commercial segment buses where the battery size and this thing, the durability and all this, the weight and everything is very high, and it takes a bit time. So that still, it's two-wheeler, four-wheeler swapping of things is much easier rather than swapping of batteries in commercial vehicle buses. So I think this kind of support we look forward from you all to this thing. And from our side, we are sure that a quality product is already there, and we are looking forward to give some more concern on with this. Thank you.
Thank you. So as I said, the project that we have for state of Maharashtra, we need all the ecosystem players to partner us because this cannot start and end with one event. It has to continue. So we would request you to be in touch with us. Our team will be in touch with you also, and we'll continue this discussion, especially for fleet. As you're saying, it's a standard concern we all have. I think it has to be considered as a separate subject and put it to the government. Where we can probably
Sir, one thing
try
which,
to facilitate it.
which want to add is the price of the buses. Now, when we have the customer inquire about the electric buses, which the cost of the battery itself contribute to 35 to 40% of the total bus cost. And currently, if they are playing in diesel or CNG, the cost of electric bus is 3 times to 4 times more than what. So the retail customers or the people who are this thing, they definitely have this optimum cost optimization, and return of investment is another thing which we are looking upon. So we also look forward to this.
Yeah, I think that's an evolution that has to happen.
Yes,
with the
this will
costing.
happen. That's why I said that we are ready for
I think we have to,
2025.
we'll have to look at a longer vision. The cost will come down as we grow the market. But let's at least look at the possibilities we can have. So maybe
Finance is also one concern, sir.
Okay.
Because this huge cost on a retail side, the financer should also be prominent to take decisions on this high cost.
Okay. So for that matter also, in fact, all of you people are also connected with the financing companies. See, now you can see, we do not have any banks who have come here. Now all these elements have to be connected for the cycle to be complete. So we need your connections, references. Let's have more elaborate discussion on going forward with all these elements which are not in touch today.
So just on the cost point of view, look at it this way. If, let's say, a fleet of cars or buses, how about providing some solution from the OEM side itself for conversion them into electric vehicles? Because we in our alternate fuel thing, we had a few players, not the OEMs, but who sort of replaced the ICE engine with the EV kits.
So very much in line with that, I just recently visited to our Hoskote plant in Volvo plant in Bangalore. So where we are already ready with hybrid vehicle, which is diesel and electric. So I'm sure the company is working on the futuristic approach on that thing, sir. So definitely, I think.
So we'll take that separately then. Sir, if you can also share your viewpoints.
Good morning, everybody. I am Ramesh Manian, ultimate user of these vehicles, and now a director of the electric mobility company which we have just formed. Having put into our experiences in this field, we really appreciate the efforts put forward into bringing the norms for charging station by putting up transformers, etc., which will be having a great safety feature as far as the output of the electric should be concerned, which should be current. But during summer time, especially the rural parts, will have a lot of electric shutdowns. For such areas, including Mumbai, if we can utilize solar electricity or other forms, along with this will be a great advantage. The other part coming to, as the gentleman said about the lithium-ion batteries, was definitely a valid point. But again, there are different types of lithium batteries which is putting into effect, and the best of the utilization for the safety of the ultimate user is very much required. If we are going to consider only the cost factor and going for cheaper product, ultimate result is what we have been, being informed by the various media now. Coming to the safety factor and our utilization and the profit margin, or considering the progress of our charging station, the end user should be safe. Today, any norms which are coming up, like this gentleman just said, about the RTO now catching up, the two-wheeler person or the illegalized production, if the ultimate user or the retail outlet is going to be penalized, what are the OEM manufacturers doing and what are the companies who have been getting this permission? And how did they secure the permission? Ultimately, it should be the ultimate user. In fact, there was a rule sometime back in the Motor Vehicle Act also, where the ultimate manufacturers are responsible for any wrongdoings or any mistakes being in the particular manufacturing level, which should be changed. Today, if I am not mistaken, if the RTO is going to catch the end user on whom we are all going to be profiting from, because it is a business which you are doing, the end user will never be satisfied and never come to utilize. Today, if a person has purchased a vehicle and is going to be penalized the very next day for no fault of his, trying to safeguard the interests of the common man by reducing the pollution for the eco norms, then ultimately the negative aspect is going to spread faster than what we are actually intending for. So such norms should definitely be addressed. The ultimate user should be safeguarded. Simultaneously, the latest forms like solar and all, which should also be included. There is one more thing as far as places like Mumbai and Delhi is concerned, where for commercial vehicles, because of the pollution norms, the age of the limit of the vehicle is being given as 8 years or 10 years, wherever it is. If our end user electric vehicle, our we end users, are coming into the same format of 8 years, it is no use for us to invest in that unless such norms are also being changed in Motor Vehicle Act, where we can utilize these vehicles for a longer period. Thank you.
Thank you a lot, sir. Just
So, my answer to your one concern for renewable energy to the discoms. So now, Government of India has set a steep target to achieve the renewable energy. It is called as a renewable purchase obligation. So every distribution utility has to purchase around 20% of its power from the renewable sources. And as I said earlier, that around 11,000 bidding process is in progress and 8,000 is contracted. And MSEDCL or state utility will go on increasing this.
Sir, really good sign for us. But ultimately, the persons who are involved in giving this source of charging station should equally be safeguarded. There are mishaps which are likely to occur. So for this also, safeguard for these persons installing such stations should be made so that, see, ultimately it is short circuit, monsoon and all we do not know. And simultaneously it is a high voltage of current, high kilowatt of current in case of commercial vehicles which is there. And unless and of course the installer is not safeguarded, it is going to be a difficult proposal for us to convince him to safeguard such devices.
in fact, I think, sir, if somebody is doing a renewable charging station, he is going to be given priority from the government on the connection priority compared to others. So of course, government has a focus. We are going through the new process, and we hope that all these safety concerns, it's for the whole industry. If any consumer is going to get affected, the whole industry has to get affected. So we all have to ensure that such mishaps do not occur. I am sure the industry is along with us on that. Ma'am.
Good afternoon all. Thank you so much for making this platform available. I'm Sharvari Padki. I represent WRI India today, World Resource Institute. We are research organization, think tank. We assist government for policy making. Throughout the discussion, we spoke about negative news. One point I would like to make to all of us as a EV community, IC engine is 120 years old. The first patent what Carl Benz got was 1886. We are not there yet. So as a community, we need to educate people that it's a really early learning phase as a sector, so that that negativity will not come with, will not rise anxiety. That's probably one point. As a EV community, as a all, we need to be very careful in every communication we make formally or informally. That is probably one thing. Then I have few questions or thoughts to Reshme sir. In terms of Mumbai, so for example, let us talk about a metro. In terms of Mumbai, buildings which are going to get redeveloped or under construction, MOEF has already laid the guidelines that minimum 20% of your parking has to be electric vehicle ready. However, the challenge will still remain for the old building. As a SNA for Maharashtra and as the majority discom player in the market, have we taken any initiative for the grid impact analysis of the charging infra? and at probably at a distribution transformer level. As a whole, we know that we are comfortable. The power producer has to make the power available. That's one question. I'll probably ask. I have few thoughts. I'll ask one by one. So, on grid impact
Regarding
analysis.
your grid impact analysis, for this purpose, we have selected some 5 to 6 feeders in Maharashtra. We are doing study on these feeders. So Ernest and Young is our partner in doing this, and maybe in coming 2 to 3 months, we will be coming up with all these study reports and detailed policy for integrated charging infrastructure. So that we are doing, because it is rightly said, the impact on the transformers, not on the transformers, substations, and overall power purchase. So this has to be taken care by the distribution utilities. So we are doing that, yes.
Because transformer becomes the last link in the network, and literally it becomes the weakest link, then we have a problem at our
For
hand.
this purpose, it is already given in the guidelines. For the charging station, there should be a separate transformer. So it should not be released from the existing transformer. So if separate transformer is there, so all safety concerns will also be taken care.
And how do we plan to address the existing building who are getting supply from the existing transformer, and the requirement will ramp
So
up?
for this existing building, if the transformer is overloaded, in that case, the transformer capacity will be augmented. That we can do.
Then as a EV community, I strongly feel we also need to talk about the skill development of the EV sector. We are talking about safety, we are talking about supply, we are talking about chip shortage, we are talking about range anxiety and whatnot. But we need, as a community, we need to come out with a plan on the skill development. I know there are some plans which are already in play, but as a whole, somebody need to think at a helicopter view level.
Yeah. So in fact, the state project that we have created, in fact, we have put skill development as a major part, because not only installation, there are people need to manage it, jobs are going to get created, are getting created, there has to be servicing aspect to it, safety aspect to it, but somebody needs to know this thing. So capacity building is a subject. However, we have been trying to figure out, how do we drive it at a level where we can do it. So we would like to connect you separately, if we can try and run some pilots. We already reached out to some people who are doing some training sessions here and there, but we have not been able to create something at a state level. So we would want to partner maybe and discuss this separately and take it forward on that level.
And probably, okay, I'm asking too many questions.
So any
or
other specific,
too many
we can take it
thoughts
later, that's not an issue.
Main question is to commercial fleet partners here. You guys are major stakeholder in the transport sector. What are your plans for fleet electrification, number one? Then number two, do you really think, for example, if there are negative spaces in the city, like spaces below flyover, below metro station, do you think that battery swapping or charging station in those negative spaces can help? And if yes, how the government will assist? Because it's a land ownership, multiple issues at a play. So commercial fleet owners and government.
Pay and park चार्जिंग स्टेशन एंड ऑल फ्लाईओवर्स वहाँ पे हम लोग कर सकते हैं चार्जिंग स्टेशंस के लिए, जो इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर के लिए भी इजीली, और जो और फ्लीट ओनर्स के लिए, जैसे मलिक भाई ने बताया था कि आज इंडिविजुअल अगर मैं गाड़ी लेता हूँ तो कोई भी मुझे सब्सिडीज़ नहीं है, ना स्टेट की है ना सेंटर की, तो वो अगर आ जाती है तो काफ़ी उसमें बदलाव। और एक है कि जैसे मेरे पास स्कूल बसेस है, स्कूल बसेस की जो डीजल और सीएनजी कॉस्ट है, हाँ, वो अराउंड 40 सीटर्स व्हीकल 25 lakhs to 26 lakhs एंड सेम व्हीकल इलेक्ट्रिक अराउंड 1 CR। तो और मेरी जो गाड़ी है, जो व्हीकल जो स्कूल बस के चल रही, वो 60 to 80 किलोमीटर्स, तो वर्किंग करने के लिए हम लोग को कॉस्टिंग वाइज जाएंगे तो वो नॉट सर्वाइव, तो उसके वजह से जो प्राइस है वो काफ़ी उसमें चेंजेस करनी पड़ेगी, इन्होंने बताया। तो वो सब कुछ आने के लिए गवर्नमेंट के साथ हम लोग भी ये कर रहे हैं कि जो स्कूल बस के लिए या कॉरपोरेट के लिए जो बसेस चल रही है लोकल्स के लिए तो कर सकते हैं। जो पॉइंट टू पॉइंट चल रही है बसेस, उसमें जैसे मुंबई पूना, मुंबई नागपुर, मुंबई गोवा वगैरह, जो बसेस के लिए इलेक्ट्रिक अभी जो हम लोग ने एक यही है कि कमर्शियल्स के लिए जो है वो सब्सिडीज नहीं होने के कारण एसटीयू के लिए सब्सिडीज जा रही है और कमर्शियल के लिए सब्सिडीज नहीं है। इसके वजह से काफ़ी उसको बैकफायर।
One more on that commercial point, I have seen a lot of startups who are trying to develop the LCVs and some more high capacity vehicles if they are trying to develop. However, they have not been successful because the majority of the guys are taking the bigger vehicles. Even they are not been able to successful. So maybe the cost will come down later when we have some startups like, who are now coming up with these models, may be able to break this cost barrier. That's the only option, at least on the short, distances we can see.
Hello, I am also from WRI India, and my query was regarding the tariff. So we all know that domestic tariff is applicable for an individual who is charging his or her own vehicle. So, and MSCDCL, as long as, as far as I know, provides one property, 1 meter. So, in that case, the person is not even able to avail the slab benefit. Already there is no EV meter or tariff provisions for individuals. And also, I thought that other cities do have a provision of green meters. It can be in another state is what I'm talking about. And even in case of Bangalore, they have a separate connection, LT6, which has the provisions for these tariff availability. Then why are we not doing such things? I believe that it will only push forward the adoption rate in the city. So is there any particular reason for why we are not doing it as of now?
Basically, for the residential consumers, we have permitted them to use the supply from the existing meter. So as per our policy, we do not provide 2 meters in one premises. So that is our policy. It is very much clear. But if you want to develop a public charging station, in that case, we, for promotion of these stations, we have provided subsidized tariff. And as you said, slab benefit, so these all tariff structures are decided by the MERC, Maharashtra Electricity Regulatory Commission, and it is already been decided, so I would not comment on that issue.
But is there any plan for smart metering? I know that there is pilot ongoing, and what state it is at.
A lot of smart metering projects are right now.
So the Government of India project, smart metering, so that will come and probably start within 6 months. So around 20 million smart meters we are deploying in Maharashtra. So that project is already there.
That will be all. Thank you so much.
Hello. Yeah, my name is Naveen Nandan. I represent GoEgo Network. We are a startup based out of Pune. We make charging stations, but we make commercial charging stations, both AC and DC. We also have our own technology backend. We have a Gomi app where you can, find all the chargers and, charge your vehicle. We have also set up our first EV charging park, which is on Mumbai-Bangalore highway, very close to Midcons, opposite Balewadi Stadium in Pune. So I think, most of the questions people have already asked that I had, but I think there are a lot of good things happening. Mumbai identifying 10 places where you can set up these EV charging stations. And I think the good point that you guys are doing is that, you're also thinking about bringing in renewable energy. Because at some point I also think that we are currently energy consumers. We need to be, as individuals, we need to be energy creators. So these kind of things are probably things that are going to help. So my only I think suggestion or observation would be that, whatever policies that we are coming out has to be documented and it needs to be available easily. A couple of weeks back we were searching about green meters and I couldn't find anything. Right, so government says that green meter is available. When you go to a Tata and Adani, they start with a list of documents. Pahla society se NOC leke aao, pahla usse ye leke aao, and all those kind of things. So if there could be, clear timelines that if somebody comes to apply for a green meter, what are the documentation required, how much time the processing will take, the whatever money is required to be deposits and all those kind of things. If these kind of things could be, probably documented and put out where everybody can, consume it. That is one. And the second thing is, the subsidies and all which are going to all these places that you're saying 5 rupees 50 paise and all that. Maybe we should also encourage a lot of these commercial campuses to, put up these things. If there can be some subsidy for them, so EV, charging infrastructure could be implemented at a faster rate there. So I don't know if that is happening currently. It's already there? Okay. I'm not talking about housing societies, but also...
I said this charging activity is a de-license activity. You can set up anywhere.
Okay.
And subsidy is already available as per Government of Maharashtra notification.
Right. Okay. That was it. Thank you.
Yeah, hi, good afternoon. My name is Aman Rahman. I am from Static India. We are the manufacturers of the chargers, AC chargers, pillar chargers, and the fast chargers also, and we have got the CSMS also in-house. We are the only company which has got the hardware and the software under one umbrella. And we are really thankful to the Reshme sir and his team for the support and the guidance in Maharashtra, and especially thanks to Majhi for organizing such a beautiful and good event. I would like to suggest all the CPOs out here, we should integrate into our systems together to facilitate the customer in a better way. Like we can integrate with the Bolt, we can take their chargers on our app because we have got 20,000 plus users on our app. So the customer cannot download all the apps like Bolt, Static and other XYZ companies. There are many companies who are charging. So we should integrate with each other, all the chargers. So if a customer has already downloaded a Static app, so in the Static app, the Bolt charger should also be visible to him, or some other company's chargers should also be there. MSCDCL chargers should also be there. So the customer should be facilitated and he will be able to know that how many chargers are there. Abhi hum log separated hai under Maharashtra या in other कोई भी state में हो. When we come jointly, then the customers will have a view that oh, Maharashtra is having 10,000 plus chargers or 20,000 plus chargers. Individually, if I say I've got 500, 1,000, he will say 2,000, 7,000. But if we integrate together, then the Maharashtra state will able to declare that in Maharashtra total we have got 20, 30,000 chargers. We have got the presence in 15 states and 60 cities as well. And we have already deployed 600 plus chargers. And one more request to Reshme sir also, that can we have prepaid meters in this apart from the postpaid meters? So it will be easy for the documentation.
Smart meters can either be prepaid or postpaid.
Okay,
so the option is up to the consumer.
Up to the consumer. Right, sir.
So, in fact, on the integration, the industry has to come together. In fact, government has already taken a lead in this to come out with a single app where all the content and mapping can be done. In fact, we would request you to look at that way that, all your charges should be, locations should be swappable, information should be swappable, and it can come under one umbrella also. It doesn't matter where it is right now. We need to have the information out.
We should not work as a competitor, but we should work as a partner to change the ecosystem in a better and a faster way.
So valid point. So for this purpose, recently we had a meeting of stakeholders where majority battery charging infrastructure manufacturers were there. So Bolt, as you said, that you have created 1,500 charging stations across Maharashtra. But I didn't find any information from your side to the state nodal agency. So my team is frequently coordinating. I think Mr. Rahman has provided all the information. So thanks to him. But if you provide this information to us, so we will be able to know how many charging stations you have created. The other thing is that we are in the process of developing the mobile app. Already we have developed it. It has to be launched, formally launched within maybe in a couple of weeks. So in that mobile app, we have made the provision that you can map your charger there. You yourself can map your charger there. So that integrated charging app or combined charging app is being provided by the MSCDCL, where anyone can find your charger. So he will reach to your charger and then he can process further as per your requirements.
So in fact, that option which they have created is something we should all adopt. If I have a charging station, I want to put it in any app, so that somebody will be using and somebody might be seeing. So we have the consumer association here. Unless until they have one app which shows all the charging stations, irrespective of whose app it is not going to be beneficial to all.
Exactly.
So, I think we should be open to that kind of interaction. While you are selling your own chargers, that is separate. If the government is creating one app where you yourself can upload it, I like in Google, you upload your location, whichever it is, so everybody can access it. So at least let that kind of an interaction happen. We have Kinetic also with us, sir, if you know.
Yeah, hi everyone. This is Mehboob Ali Khan from Kinetic Green. We are the same manufacturers that bought the iconic Luna and the Kinetic Honda to India and sold more than 1 crore vehicles. And over the last 7-8 years, we have transitioned completely to electric. And today we are one of the leading manufacturers of electric two-wheelers and three-wheelers in India. Over the last 7 to 8 years, we have already put more than 60,000 electric vehicles on Indian roads. And they are running perfectly fine. And firstly, I would like to thank the state government and congratulate my industry colleagues that we in Maharashtra have one of the most progressive, holistic and inclusive state government EV policies, and we are all the beneficiaries of that. Secondly, I have a specific ask, like one of my colleagues said, that we need access to departments in the government purview where electric vehicles would make amazing sense. And we would like to work with the government to have pilots run so that we can demonstrate that business case. Specifically in area of door-to-door waste collection, where we can use electric vehicles to have, जो BMC की गाड़ी कचरा उठाती है घर-घर से, there, electric vehicles make perfect sense, not only in terms of the cost you save while charging as compared to using diesel or CNG, but the amount of emissions you put out into the atmosphere by having a vehicle run its entire life in first or second gear, driving door to door. So we would love to submit our suggestions wherein we would, suggest pilots, and we would love to carry out pilots, present a business case, and then it is up to the government, how we can work together and put more EVs on the road.
So in fact, I like to inform everybody, Kinetic is the first company who jumped on to partnering with us, and they have already done 2 trials, one in Nagpur with Nagpur municipality and another in Alibag. So our idea, as I said, it's not limited to event. We want to give exposure to all the brands on how you can go ahead and do something. And of course, we can only facilitate that. Your product and your service and your quality will speak for itself, I assume. So the model that we are looking at with everybody is that, how can we help you reach out to the areas where you have a possibility. Now, everybody wants to sell it only in Mumbai. Now, that's another challenge we have. But having said that, some of the states or the smaller states or European countries do not have populations which we have in our tier 2 cities. So there's a huge opportunity we have. We should look beyond Mumbai also. There are some challenges, like Sir said, of power cuts, etc., which are being looked upon. But there are some cities which are very efficiently working. In fact, there is a lot more interest on electrical vehicle in some tier 2 cities more than in Mumbai itself, which we are not capitalizing across. And government has mandated a lot of organizations to start putting green vehicles. There is where the charging has to go, and before they come, we should be there available for them. We have ARAI also, who in fact is one of a very important person for all of us, at least on the OEM side. Without their certification, nothing is on the road. Sir, if you can suggest, how we can quickly should look at Maharashtra specifically. You are based here in Pune, everybody is with you. The OEM complaints are coming to us, so you can be one of our knowledge partner on, we can do it. Quickly, if you can share a couple of thoughts and we can wrap up the session today.
Yeah, thank you. Hi, this is Dr. Atul Thakre. I represent Automotive Research Association of India, Pune. We are one of the premier testing and certification agency set up by Government of India in cooperation with the auto industry. So like everybody knows that the future is electric, as they say. So ARAI has got a center of excellence in green mobility now, we are saying, because we are not looking only at electrification when we say alternate fuel or the future. We are also looking at some other like fuels like hydrogen probably in the coming future. But yes, means to look at the near future, electrification we feel is the need of the day. And we have got all the facilities to test all type of vehicles, two-wheelers, three-wheelers, four-wheelers. And we are like committed to promote the safe, smart and sustainable mobility. So when it comes to ARI, people, they normally ask that safety, which is the the most important aspect of the vehicle. And when battery is like a live bomb, as they say. So what is the thing that what are the steps that we take for ensuring that the vehicle which is plying on road is safe? So we do lot of testing, not only and India-specific testings we have done. Of course, there are some incident recently with two-wheelers which has happened, but I think the investigations are on. Still, like ARI, when we certify, so we make sure that the battery or any component of the vehicle, it is tested from all angles, be it battery abuse, traction, everything. And I feel that more and if agencies like us, if we do rigorous testing and we come out with the solutions that probably the OEMs want, then more and more people will believe that yes, they can buy electric cars or even the bikes. When we come across people, they say that range anxiety is there. We certify some range, but the vehicle actually gives less range. So I would like to clarify that the tests which happen, they happen in ideal situation as per the Indian driving cycle. So and we drive at we will say it in real-time conditions which are not ideal as the testing conditions are. But definitely now means we also tell people that there is some real range also. And I don't know, but some OEMs, they have started giving the real range also in their marketing collaterals. So I feel that means with ARAI, the OEMs can definitely bank and move for the electric future. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. In fact, ARAI, I would suggest, the OEMs all are there with you, connected with you. We need to drive them to the discussion table more, rather than we trying to figure out where they are, because they are the ones who are coming to you. So you should be the one who can, sir, kaan pakadne ke liye, probably we can use your hand to bring them here.
While on that, if we can, I know there is a move by the Government of India to standardize a whole lot of the components and the OEMs and the battery levels, etc. So whatever standards that are there, if the collectively all the OEMs and the organizations like ARAI can make an effort to publicize them widely. And what are, because the government has now, for example, government recently has come out with a draft for the swappable battery policy.
Right.
So likewise, there are some drafts for the standards and all that, and the industry and ARI kind of organizations frequently keep working towards it. So there is possibly now an urgent need for standardization of most of the maybe the components, OEMs, the vehicles, or even the battery and the other essential infrastructure ingredients which go into the electric vehicle. So if you could throw some light on that, where are we on this?
When it comes to standard, automotive industry standards, like ARI is having the secretariat for that. And we publish those standards on our website, they are free. And we also have a academy, ARI Academy, which trains people the laymen about this automotive things and particularly electric mobility. So we have many programs going on. So you can, we have a stall here. So I can give you more information probably on that also. But yes, definitely we are working with the like industry as well as the government when it comes to standards, and we try to act as a interface so that the problems can be solved like in a better way. Thank you.
So I would have a request to all of you. You know, the project is here. We are here all 3 days. We want you all to meet each one of you, to invite you to be a part of the project. We want to specifically have a role for every partner, how we can foresee it. Like information percolation is a challenge. Getting people on board, have a topic like, you know, carriers and commercial vehicles is a challenge. So we need to discuss and put some themes. Our international partners, Australia is here. We have other countries who are also very keen to collaborate on that. So in next 2 days we are here. In fact, tomorrow we have the MAHAPRIET CMD also coming. Day after tomorrow we have the Energy Secretary also here. So we would like to have one-on-one interaction of you guys also with them. Continuing with that, I have one request is that, you know, so everybody is actively on social media on this program today. Please do tag yourself and tag the Honorable Minister. He is not in the country. So we need to ensure that the information reaches him, that we are discussing it to all of them. And next level, we suggest that, you know, let's discuss with each of them how we can make the next steps, partner with Maharashtra state as such, try to foresee a pilot projects which we can do in other cities and then take it forward with this. I would like to thank Reshme sir for making himself available today. A couple of ministers who could not join us, we would definitely have one-to-one meeting with them separately and maybe have some activities like that in their region. And also the consumer associations and all of you who could make time to share your points. We would want to have this more formal. We make a project or a draft of this whole discussion, put it to the department and the minister also, and have the next level of discussion probably at a later level, where we are already looking at trying to do events in Nagpur, Pune, Raigad, etc., where we want to have maybe a different strategy which can be done in that location. This is for Mumbai. 10 cities we have identified. We want to have every city come to that aggressive level. And I think with that we'll wrap it up. Please do exchange your cards and be connected with us. We also want to create probably maybe a WhatsApp group or something where we can share this information. We would like to invite all of you to be a part of it. Anybody who's not here, please do connect us to them also. As we have all been saying, it's an industry. We are not 120-year-old right now, but maybe we don't need to wait 120 years. If we can do it in 20 years, we need to work together. I think with that, and I would like to thank all the participants and for all these creative ideas and suggestions. And thank you very much for making available, and we'll be in touch together.